Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay. Okay. That's okay. I didn't know either. Thank you.
The October 11th, 2011 meeting of the Latrobe City Council will now come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Jim Angelo?
Here.
Mr. Jim?
Here.
Mrs. Wolford?
Here.
Mr. Scapora?
Here.
Mr. Baldinari?
Here.
Mr. Ford?
Here.
Six present.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting, please?
Deputy Mayor, I move that the minutes of the September 12th, 2011 meeting be approved and accepted and be permitted to remain on the Secretary's desk while they will be available for reading and inspection to anyone.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you. Moving on, do we have a motion for the approval of the fiscal department reports?
We have to.
Sorry about that. Forgot to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Ms. Wolford. Now do I have a motion to approve the fiscal reports?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second. I'll second that motion,
Thank-
Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Now we come to the portion of the meeting with for citizens' request. Anybody wishing to speak before council, please do so, but state your name and address prior to your comments.
My name is Myra Ann Lynch. I was born in Latrobe. I am a citizen of Latrobe. And Staff Sergeant Nunzio Colombo went before a judge and said that for 25 years, he and I have been having an intimate relationship.
Miss,
So I said to the judge, I'm a citizen of Latrobe. He is a policeman in Latrobe. That's as far as it goes. You don't want to drive me trapped in a mental institution for 2 months. Justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Lynch. Anybody else wish to address council?
I want to see you. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. That's it.
I'm Mike Givich, Latrobe, 502 Alexander Street. Next to me is a 506 Regola building. A month or two ago, you told Charlie Monk to go down there and check the basement. It's 2 months later, he never checked it yet. Jeff kept promising to give him a key. I know what he did, what those guys, junkies did down there. They busted all the concrete, they're trying to fix it. I'm getting all the water. That's ruining my steps, and my side porch sunk about an inch. Now I have to get it repaired, it's gonna cost me. And I told Jeff that, he said, well, I have insurance. And he won't let nobody in the, he's trying to sell the place to somebody else who's gonna get stuck. And these other people, they're at the big yard in the back, I think they cut it one time, and the people in the back are complaining about it. And nothing, and I haven't gotten, plus I'm getting water in the basement from the water company had a leak there about a month or year and a half ago. The drain sucked, my road sides cracked, and the Bush and them, I asked them to come down. I told the chief for Mr. Bush and the water company to come down, and they said they're too busy. And I'll be goddamn, I went in the Army and I served. I got wounded 2 times, Purple Heart, Silver Star, and they treat me like I'm a goddamn third-class citizen. A bunch of crap.
Mr. Judas, nobody's treating you as a third-class citizen. Is there anybody here from the municipal authority?
I do know that my dad has been trying to get the key off of Jeff and hasn't had any luck. He talked to him in church the other day and asked him for it. He said, okay, but it's not, we have been told by, I believe, the code officer that she was in the basement and that basement was dry. But, you know, I think Mr. Judas needs to see that for himself. And I think dry is dependent upon the weather too, but,
Mr. Bush, have you been to the property?
I've been to the property several times over the last couple of years. To the best of my recollection, at no time did I ever say that I was too busy to meet with Mr. Judy. I've been down there with the code officer, I've been down there with the water company, I've been down on my own. I believe I was down with the previous police chief.
Thank you.
Kenny, we've had problems down there with garbage and everything else. I'd like to see when our code officer sent him a letter, because it's been like the last 3 months and the same garbage can filled with garbage and the same stuff's out front of his house. So I don't know how many days, years, or what, when we give a notice like that, when he's supposed to get the stuff out of there.
Can I say, still, the mayor, the last mayor we had, not the one now, I complained about that garbage down there. It used to be about 10 or 12 bags, and I complained about it. He says, the board would take it for nothing. And Jeff couldn't afford the garbage. Everybody else had to go buy stamps and take it. I called everything him but a man.
Chief Bumar, can you shed any light on the situation? Do you wish to?
Well, I hear what the code officer says, but I see the problems down there. It's a continual problem. It's gonna have to be made a personnel issue if council deems that. I mean, I don't know what else to do. It kind of falls on dead ears.
When does it come in the code book, anything becoming the personnel of a police officer in his conduct? That you would have to come up, latch on to him, and sit down with him, talk to him, and start writing him up on this stuff? I mean, that's unbecoming of an officer right there.
I think
he's breaking the law on a regular basis of our codes.
yeah, I
Well,
think.
it has to be shown to me that he is doing that by the code officer. She has to show that there's a violation there.
I think what Chief means is exactly what he just said, that he needs to have proofs that there is a code violation before he can act.
He's already had reprimands on that. In fact, Mr. Baldneri and Mr. Scapora sat in on the reprimand of him, and
Madam Mayor,
they know what I'm dealing with.
But this is then where we come into,
Are we getting into matters?
is we have to find out when the last letter was sent to him, because I think it's 30 days they have. And I think he's beyond the 30 days, I think he's beyond the 60 days at this point, like that, and there's still garbage out in front of his house. Thank you, Alex.
I'm sure our city manager will look into this matter.
yeah, I'd like to see, like to hear from our solicitor. Is there any civil action we can take, clean that up and put a lien on the property? What do you suggest?
Well, we can do a number of things. We can file a complaint at the magistrate, that's number one. Number two, we can also seek injunctive relief. That goes to the court of common pleas. It can't happen at the magistrate. But those are two options. If we do the injunctive relief, then we're asking the court to order a person to do or not do something, in this case, the owner of the property. If the property owner fails to comply with the order, then the court can hold him in contempt.
The least expensive and the quickest would be
Well,
go before the
magistrates,
magistrate.
that's always the least expensive. We put it.
All right.
There's also was a letter, I believe, on the brick, and there was supposed to be some major repair to that brick prior to the cold season, because the engineers felt that the freeze and thaw cycle would make that brick even worse. And Alex, I think we need to find out where the status of that is as well.
And just keep in mind, before we try Officer Regula in the court of public opinion, we need to first establish that there are code violations. So let's do that first. Thank you.
James Miller, 127 East 4th Avenue, Latrobe. You know, I had a problem too with a neighbor that's not, doesn't live there and the tree's falling down. And I talked to Ann Powell, and she had told me that unless a tree was dead, and it's a big pine tree, which are, you know, they're not deep rooted at all. Unless the tree is dead, there's nothing she can do about it. Perhaps, maybe there's something that can't be done there, I don't know, but I think it would be helpful if maybe the citizens could view, there could be a book made or something like that, with the different ordinances, you know, the different things that the city has put out, that, you know, on properties or something like that, instead of going down there and they saying there's nothing can be done about the problem.
There is, it's just like this thick.
Mr. Millen, yeah, that's all a matter of public record, all the codes, laws, ordinances, what have you, regarding the governance of this city. It's available to the public.
Well, perhaps then they could show us whenever we make a complaint or something like that, an officer could show us that particular part of the ordinance, so that we would be thinking, we wouldn't be thinking, well, they just don't want to do anything. There may be nothing can be done. I really don't know.
Well, we also always have the options to put more teeth in our ordinances. I mean, that's up to us. If the ordinances, you know, don't, A, if they're not being enforced, and B, if they don't have enough meat in them, we can always fix that.
My suggestion would be that when you see a public official and you're asking that question, and you're cited an ordinance that says, our books say we can't do it because of this, whoever you're asking, you ask them for the physical proof, and they have to show it to you. It's a matter of public record. Whoever you're talking to, it's an ordinance officer, or the mayor, or one council, we'll be sure to cite you where that comes from. We should be.
Sir?
My name is Charles Bancroft. I live on Bob Avenue A, 42 Avenue A. I have asked Mr. Bush 3 times. I've gone to the mayor once. I've also gone to the lady that's across the hall from where you get the stickers for the trash. Down on Bob Avenue A, where it ends, where the blacktop ends, there's a bunch of potholes, and it goes from one point, all opens up, okay? I have pictures here on my phone, in this camera, about the potholes. I'm concerned about elderly people walking down through there, about them either tripping or hurting themselves, or even kids, more than likely me on a motorcycle, falling off a motorcycle off the potholes.
Mr. Bancroft, this is where Avenue A dead ends.
Great dead ends towards the bicycle path.
Mr. Bush, are you aware of this?
Yes, I am. It is our intent to get that fixed up by winter. We just haven't been able to get out to perform the maintenance like we have in past years. I am aware of it.
But the thing is, you guys turn around and patched up an alleyway over here, I think it's in 5th Ward.
6th Ward.
6th Ward, excuse me. I mean, the street is a little bit more important than an alleyway, isn't it?
Well, that alley over in 6th Ward was causing all kind of water problems for the residents. That's why it was repaired, because it was flooding their yards on a weekly basis. So it as far as I'm concerned, it did raise to a little higher priority, but it's on the list. He'll get to it. I'm sure he'll get to it.
My name is Marla Lynch, and this veteran has a similar problem with water. He was walked beside.
Mr. Bush, can you see to it that that situation on Avenue A is given priority, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it?
Anybody else have anything to say?
Okay. Do we have other streets that need to be taken care of?
I'm sure we do.
I mean, like, you go up Second Avenue, that was a mess up for 2 years, you know what I mean? If there's other streets, you know, I went down there and I saw that, you know what I mean? I drove down and everything else, I walked down there. Yeah, it's kind of rough on one end, but I've seen worse streets in the middle of town. And we're talking about trying to build the town back up. You know what I mean? We're worried about 20 feet of road. If you're careful, which you know it's there, and you said you know it's there, and now he wants to jump on it right away. I just don't see that right now. We have other streets
Mr.
taken care of.
D'Angelo, I think that could be fixed rather quickly, easily, cheaply, and you know what they say about the squeaky wheel.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Committee reports. Do we have any committee reports? Board or authority reports? Department reports. Fire Department? Chief Brazili?
Yes, Mr. Deputy Mayor, just a couple things. Up and coming Halloween parade will be October 29th, that's Saturday. The parade will be starting at 2 o'clock. Trick or treat will be from 5 o'clock till 8 p.m. And the fire department will be out patrolling the streets as we usually do to try to help with the security of the young kids around the neighborhoods. The other thing is with some of the growing temperatures that are dipping, I should say, not the growing, but the dipping of the temperatures, I just want to remind the residents that open burning is prohibited in the city limits. No fire pits, no chimeneas, and there is an ordinance that states that. But residents buy these and they feel the need to use them. Well, just because they're able to be purchased from a nearby hardware department store, the use is prohibited within the city of Latrobe. There is even an ordinance that states that you cannot use your wood burner if it's above 65 degrees. So now is the time of year you're going to start getting the smell of smoke. People are going to use their wood burners in fireplaces. But as long as it's below 65 degrees, they're permitted to do that. Anything above that is considered for incineration purposes. But the big thing is with these chimneys, these fire pits, and I've been out quite often just the last couple weeks more and more, and just trying to tell people that, hey, first time's a warning, you could be fined up to $600 for each offense. That's a non-traffic citation. But it's our ordinance. It's the ordinance that's been in probably effect for 50, 60 years, maybe longer. If you want to burn, you got to move to the township. That's all I can tell you. So, just a reminder. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Bush?
Nothing, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Chief Bumar?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Before we
move on to tonight's agenda, I just want to address one issue. Today we opened the sealed bids for the reconstruction and repair of the parking garage. Following adjournment of this meeting, we're going to review those bids. All of you are welcome to attend. We have two representatives from Carl Walker Construction, one of the bidding entities, who will address any questions that we might have regarding the construction, the refurbishing of these bids. So we're going to try to move the meeting along. Mr. Kelly, our solicitor, will be doing an abbreviated motions and amendments, hopefully. So we'll get through these. We'll get through these items quickly so we can get to the parking garage matter. Thank you. Mr. Kelly.
As our deputy mayor said, you have a rare treat. I left my reading glasses at home tonight and forgot them, so I will read all resolutions and ordinances by caption only. The first item on the agenda is a resolution approving the installation of off-street directional signs for Seton Hill Child Care Services, Inc. The caption or title is authorizing approval of directional signs for Seton Hill Child Services, Inc. It authorizes 2 signs not to exceed 18 by 24 inches. One at the alley after the Napa Auto Parts store and before Valley Dairy, and 2 other signs on a pole to be located on Chestnut Street. The motion would be to adopt the resolution as outlined by the solicitor.
Do I have a motion to adopt this motion or this resolution?
I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. Second.
I second that, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Forrest. Ms. Spock? Any questions or discussion? Thank you. Ms. Spock?
This is resolution 2011-50. Mr. Jim?
Yes.
Mr. Scapora?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolford?
Yes.
Mr. Jimenangelo?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldoneri?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
Moving on.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, the next item is an ordinance which has been duly advertised. The title of the ordinance is to authorize and require the vacating and closing of portions of Harding Street, Buttonwood Street, Jefferson Street, and Maple Street, said streets traversing property of CBC Latrobe Acquisitions LLC, otherwise known as the Latrobe Brewing Company, bounded generally on the east by Ligonier Street, on the south by Oak Street, and on the west and north by the Loyal Hannah Creek, situate in the first ward of the city of Latrobe. This ordinance would effectively vacate any remaining open streets within the property, generally known as the Latrobe Brewing Company. Also, there is attached to in part of the ordinance an easement agreement, which I understand will be signed by CBC Latrobe Acquisitions. It provides easements for both water and sewer lines within that complex, and also provides vehicular easements for the Latrobe Municipal Authority, for any repairs that may need to be made, as well as for the city and the Army Corps of Engineers for any issues relative to the flood control. The motion would be to enact the ordinance as outlined by the solicitor.
Do I have a motion to adopt this ordinance?
Discussion. Yes. I have a
Ms.
question.
Lynch,
Yeah, I have a
you're not
question.
permitted to speak at this point. Thank you very much. Please
Is the
take a seat.
dumping going to be
Please,
regulated?
please, Ms. Lynch, take a seat.
Dumping
Thank you.
CBC going to be regulated?
I make a motion, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Wolford. Second.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Scapora. Any discussion? Ms. Spock?
This is ordinance 2011-9. Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolford?
Yes.
Mr. Scapora?
Yes.
Mr. Jim?
Yes.
Mr. Jimenangelo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldoneri?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
Mr. Kelly?
If I may have a moment, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Mr. Deputy Mayor, the next item, and members of council, the next item is also a resolution. It is entitled Approving a Sidewalk Maintenance Agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. Essentially, PennDOT plans to do work on the bridge over the Loyal Hannah Creek. Part of that work is the sidewalk, and they have requested that, although they will pay for the cost of installing the sidewalks, that the city thereafter would agree to maintain the sidewalks as part of its public works projects. The motion would be to adopt the resolution as outlined by the solicitor.
Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Angela. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Forrest. Any discussion? Do we, I'd just like to know, do we currently maintain that sidewalk over the bridge?
No.
It's been PennDOT's.
Yes.
And it's never been maintained.
Well aware of that.
So we should think about our residents and maintain it.
I agree. Ms. Spock?
This is resolution 2011-51. Mrs. Wolford?
Yes.
Mr. Jimenangelo?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Scapora?
Yes.
Mr. Jim?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Baldner?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, members of council, the next item on the agenda is a resolution. It is entitled Authorizing the City Engineer to Apply for Community Development Block Grant Allocation for repaving of certain streets in the city of Latrobe. Whenever we have been allocated over a several-year period an amount of $181,000 as community block grant funds. Whenever we seek to apply those funds in a given year, we are required by the Westmoreland County Planning Department to present a resolution asking for allocation to a given program. In this case, it is paving certain streets within the city. The motion would be to adopt the resolution as outlined by the solicitor.
Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Kapor. Second.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. Any discussion?
I just have a question. Is there a fee associated with applying for this grant? I mean, do we pay the city engineer for applying for this grant?
The city engineer will be paid for, the services rendered. I'm not sure, Joe, if we have an idea much, but it's not going to be much. It might have been an hour or so time spent. Joe did the legwork and forwarded to them the information, and then they forwarded the cost estimate for that.
Thank you.
Since this CDBG grant covers 09 through 11, is this a retroactive grant that we applying for? Is this, yes, Mr. Bush seems to have an answer.
This 3-year period is 12 through 14. 2012 through 2014. We must apply the year before this time of the year to get it on the books for the following year.
That's not what the resolution says. So it needs changed?
Yeah, you'll have, Mr. Kelly, you'll have to change
The
this.
years, you used the same
Oh,
as last time.
okay. No, Ms. Buck is correct. The years I initially put in were incorrect, and I didn't change them, and I agree with Mr. Bush. It is 2011-14, so 12-14, so that will be changed on the resolution.
And this grant, will it be granted in 3 consecutive years, or is it given all at once? Go ahead, Joe.
By the county, every 3 years, we receive an allotment of money. This year, it's, for the 3 years, it's $187,000. That can be spent on one project in the first year. That can be held back and spent in the second or third year, or so much each year, depending on your project.
Thank you. Ms. Buck.
This is resolution 2011-52. Mr. Jimenangelo.
Yes.
Mr. Forish.
Yes.
Mr. Jim.
Yes?
Mrs. Wolford.
Yes.
Mr. Scapora.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldner.
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
Kelly?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, members of council, the next item is a motion only, and the motion reads, I move we adopt, no, it is a resolution. I move we adopt a resolution authorizing the installation of meter parking spaces on the east side of Jefferson Street between Main Street and Chestnut Street. And we had this discussion at our agenda session. Our city manager has suggested, and the resolution brings that to light, that we ought to consider putting some meter spaces on the east side of Jefferson Street to help alleviate the temporary problem with regard to the parking garage. So the resolution is entitled Amending Chapter 256, Exhibit 25655, Schedule 9, on-street meter parking facilities to add Jefferson Street on the east side with spaces to be between Main Street and Chestnut Street, and the Director of Public Works would determine the best type of space, whether it would be parallel or angled parking. The motion would be to adopt the resolution as outlined.
Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Wolford. Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. G. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'm not so sure that I would want to authorize Joe to make the determination without coming back to council, whether it be angled parking or full parking from Chestnut to Main Street. I think we should have another shot at it. I question whether or not we'd want angled parking as you come out of this parking lot between Main and the alley. And I just, this actually authorizes and directs him to do whatever he sees fit, I think.
Yes.
And it's not simply a study.
Have you looked at it already, Joe?
Nothing has been measured out yet. We've looked at it, both the city manager and myself, and we agreed we would get together and look and measure it out
Okay.
to see what could be done there.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think Joe's ever done that. It usually always goes to the city manager. I kind of feel confidence in him that he'd handle that through the city manager too. You know what I mean?
To make a proper determination.
That with the chief, I mean, if they don't have, if the chief and Joe and Alex, if there's no safety hazards.
I mean, so far Joe's done that all the time. He's gone with the chief of police and the city manager before he ever made a decision like that.
I thought they always came back to council after they made their decisions. He doesn't, this resolution doesn't allow for that. That's my understanding of it. I don't have personally any objection to the parallel parking on Jefferson Street, but I'd like to have a look at what they come up with before I approve it.
Joe, in the past, have you come to council when you created new parking spaces and requested our approval prior to your?
Council has to agree on any changes we make in parking, establishing parking spaces. So council's been aware of every move we've made so far.
So maybe we
Memorial Drive,
maybe we just table this?
No, I think we can vote on it and.
Yeah, I would see voting, for it, but give us the opportunity to have a look, see at what determination you come up with. That's because we have made some changes, Joe. You recall on Memorial Drive, we removed angled parking. You had put in one direction and that was changed to two direction, etc. That's why I'd just like to have a look, see.
I have no problem with that.
All right, thank you.
Why don't we compromise and do this? If Joe and Alex and the chief determine it's parallel parking is appropriate, then they can go ahead and do that. However, if they want to do angled parking, then they come back to us. Is that?
They can come back to council at the agenda session with their proposal. If council talks about it and it would appear council's not in favor of it, I'm sure that they would not implement that proposal.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Thank you.
Ms. Buck?
This is resolution 2011-53. Mr. Jim?
Yes.
Mr. Scapora?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolford?
Yes.
Mr. Forage?
Yes.
Mr. Giovanangelo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bolognari?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, members of council, the next item on the agenda is a resolution. It is entitled Approving the Quotation and Authorizing a Contract for the Purchase of a New Case Model 580 Super N Tractor Loader Backhoe. The quotation was submitted by Groff Tractor and Equipment, Inc. For the purchase price of $68,500. This quote would be accepted and a contract would be awarded to Groff to purchase the backhoe. The motion would be to adopt the resolution as outlined.
Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. Second?
I second that.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Any discussion? I just want to say that I know Joe sought other bids on this particular purchase, and I don't know why this competitive bidding or closed or sealed bidding isn't required, or Mr. Graziano?
It's part of the state. Would you say piggyback program?
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Ms. Buck?
This is resolution 2011-54. Mr. Scapora?
Yes.
Mr. Forage?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolford?
Yes.
Mr. Jim?
Yes.
Mr. Giovanangelo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldner?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
Moving on to Administration and Finance, Mr. Kelly.
The first item on the agenda, Mr. Deputy Mayor, members of council, is a resolution. It is entitled Approving an Agreement of Sale with the Westmoreland County Community College Authority for the sale of a parking lot. A month or so ago, we authorized entering into a long-term lease of the lot at the corner of at the corner of Ligonier and Jefferson and Depot Street. The Community College Authority has approached us about selling the property to them for the sum of $75,000. This resolution would authorize entering into an agreement of sale. There is an agreement attached to the resolution. The motion would be to adopt the resolution as outlined.
Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Wolford. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. G. Any discussion? It's a lot easier than simple. No discussion.
This is resolution 2011-55. Mr. Jim?
Yes.
Mr. Giovanangelo?
Yes.
Mr. Forge?
Yes.
Mr. Scapora?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolford?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldner?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, members of council, the next item under Administration and Finance is a resolution, and it is entitled Authorizing Malkenhoff Benefits Group to assist the city in preparing an Act 44 policy relating to potential conflicts of interest and procedures for procuring professional services. Essentially, what has happened, the state legislature passed Act number 44. It requires us to draft policies relating to conflicts of interest, to list all individuals with any vendors that we may deal regarding pension plans. All council members, the city manager have to be listed as well. Also, if and when we do determine to seek requests for proposals for any vendor dealing with our pension plans, there is a certain type of request for proposal we must follow. Malkenhoff has been our consultant with regard to our pensions for decades. Basically, they will prepare the policy and submit it to us for approval. So this resolution authorizes them to do so, and the motion would be to also adopt the resolution as outlined.
Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved, Mr.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ms. Wolford. Any discussion? Ms. Buck.
This is resolution 2011-56. Mr. Forge?
Yes.
Mr. Scapora?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolford?
Yes.
Mr. Jim?
Yes.
Mr. Giovanangelo?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldner?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
Moving on to Planning and Development, Mr. Kelly.
The first item under Planning and Development is an ordinance. If you recall, a while back we had discussion on a variance for awnings to go over the Dollar General Store in the Hope Center. And after all of that, what they were using was approved by the fire chief. Nonetheless, council did ask that we amend the section of the ordinance that would require non-combustible awnings. And this ordinance has been duly advertised. Essentially, the language here that is the change is stated, excepted from this provision are awnings made of canvas or similar material. That's the only change to the ordinance. As I said, it's been duly advertised, and the motion would be to enact the ordinance as outlined.
Do I have a motion to enact this ordinance?
So moved.
Ms. Wolford, second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. G. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Chief Brazili.
Just on those, the word canopy should also be added to that, awnings and canopies.
You mentioned that last time, I think.
Yeah, that should be added in there,
Thank you.
just for added protection.
We can do that. That's not a problem.
My name is Myra Lynch, and I used to be married, what he still has his architect in America stamp, okay? And, when I saw 9/11, and I watched Cool Steel burn. I
Ms.
called
Lynch,
my
please
cell phone,
have a
and
seat. You're out of order.
like Chief
Thank you,
Vasily
Ms.
said,
Lynch.
there's nothing on the face of the earth that won't
Ms.
burn.
Lynch,
So,
please.
ease your rents first.
Let me just go ahead.
Ms. Buck, go ahead.
This is ordinance 2011-10. Mrs. Wolford?
Yes.
Mr. Forge?
Yes.
Mr. Scapora?
Yes.
Mr. Giovanangelo?
Yes.
Mr. Jim?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldner?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
Hey, Mr. Baldner, I just want to say one thing. I want to thank Councilman Giovanangelo and Fire Chief Brazili. This really helps out and Councilman Forish for their work on getting this thing done. It really helps out our efforts on the revitalization committee, so thank you.
I just want to tell you, the awnings look really nice.
Huh?
I said the awnings look really nice, I know.
He's being sarcastic, as usual.
Patience. No comment.
Ms. Buck? Oh, okay. Mr. Kelly.
The next item, Mr. Deputy Mayor, members of council, under planning and development is a resolution. It is entitled Approving Conservation Partnership Agreement with the Westmoreland Conservation District. There is an agreement appended to the resolution, and basically it would create a partnership with the conservation or the Westmoreland Conservation District with regard to soil erosion and other issues that may arise due to construction or activity within the city. Basically, they would provide assistance to us, and we would be required to do certain things as outlined in the agreement. The motion would be to adopt the agreement as outlined, or adopt the resolution, I'm sorry, as outlined by the solicitor.
Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Forish. Any discussion? I'd just like to thank Mr. Graziani for bringing this partnership with the conservatorship to the table. It's heretofore unknown to us, and this is the types of things that we've been looking for in a city manager. So thank you, Alex. Ms. Buck.
This is resolution 2011-57. Mr. Giovanangelo?
Yes.
Mr. Jim?
Yes.
Mr. Forge?
Yes.
Mrs. Wolford?
Yes.
Mr. Scapora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldner?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
Moving on to the police department, Mr. Kelly.
Under the police department, the first item is a resolution. It's entitled Amending Chapter 250-650, Schedule 4 Stop Intersections. What this resolution does is add a stop sign, two stop signs on Raymond Avenue at the intersection of Brinker Street. One stop sign will be in the north direction of travel. The other stop sign will be in the southern direction of travel. The motion would be to adopt the resolution as outlined.
Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'll make that motion, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Forish. Second.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. Any discussion?
Yes, Jim, is that up there to stop speeding up there? We have a speeding problem up there?
Well, last week, 2 residents came into my office and talked to me about this problem up there. They said that because of the difficulty of entering Lincoln Avenue from Main Street, because coming up Main Street they have the right of way, there's no stop sign. Most of the traffic avoids that and goes down Brinker, which causes double the traffic on that street. So there is a problem there. There's a lot of kids there. It is needed.
Okay,
Visibility
thank you.
issues as well.
Yes. The visibility issues when cars are parked along there complicates the matter. When you have excess traffic, people trying to pull out, it is needed there.
So you're okay with this, Chief?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
An exception, our videographer wishes.
It is not Brinker
he
Street,
wishes-
it is Brinker Avenue. Correct.
Thank you. Ms. Buck.
This is resolution 2011-58. Mrs. Wolford?
Yes.
Mr. Scapora?
Yes.
Mr. Jim?
Yes.
Mr. Giovanangelo.
Yes.
Mr. Forge.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldner.
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
The last item under the police department is a resolution entitled approving Hoffman's Boarding Kennels contract. The rate this year would be $250 per month. This is a contract that we approve annually for Hoffman's to be our dog enforcement officer. The motion would be to adopt the resolution as outlined.
Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Kapoor. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ms. Wolford. Any discussion? Ms. Buck?
I have an idea about feeding and veterinary.
This is resolution 2011-59.
I think the city.
Mr. Scapora.
Yes.
Mr. Jim.
Yes.
Mr. Forge.
Yes.
Mr. Giovanangelo.
Yes.
Mrs. Wolford.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Baldner.
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes.
That concludes the agenda portion of the meeting. Moving on is any unfinished business. Chief Brazili.
It's really not unfinished. Just a reminder to the public, Wednesday, we are having a fire prevention program over at the Family Video parking lot, Lot A of the city. Everybody's invited. We're gonna have trucks and some food and some drinks and just some things for the kids and the citizens to make aware of what we do and what we're about. And it starts 5 to 8. And Annette Couch called me yesterday, and Rosie, maybe you can help me out here. The 22nd is the October.
Oh, the October.
The Autumn Fest.
The Autumn Fest.
Or
Thank you.
Oktoberfest, I think it's the Autumn Fest.
Yeah, and Mike, she's asked me, Christ Divine Teacher School parking lot, they'd like to have a couple fire trucks, being at your area. I told her we might be able to get the vent truck up there. I was gonna try to split time with you and number 5, 10 to 3, maybe you can split. Whoever wants to take the morning shift, maybe do a couple hours, and then number 5 can pick up vice versa. But that would be on the 22nd. It would be in the parking lot of Christ Divine Teacher School.
Yeah, one of the things we do with the Autumn Fest is, there's a story hour there at Christ Divine, so there'll be a lot of kids, so we thought that would be a nice addition.
So I told her we could probably get some trucks up there for her.
We could do that.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Chief. But I think you jumped the gun because we have new business.
Okay.
Any new business?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, I have one question. The street, 2nd Avenue has been done. I wonder when they were going to put the crosswalk signs back on 2nd Avenue, right near the hospital parking lot. They are not stopping going up there, Joe. I just mentioned it. They have them off on a side street. At least they did as of Friday.
Although that project has been paved, we have a hit list on that. A few things that we're not satisfied, so the contractor will come back in, and we will get those painted as soon as all the work is done.
I think he's also mentioning the portable walk signs.
The portable walk signs are out of place, Joe, is what I'm talking about.
Oh, the portable ones?
Yes.
I thought you were referring to the crosswalks, I'm sorry.
No,
We'll get them back up.
Would you do that, please?
Sure.
Because they'll be going over there tomorrow, probably.
Thank you.
City Manager's report.
My report is before you as written. If there's any questions, be sure to come see me in my office or any other time. Do you have any questions for me now?
Not now. Mayor's report, since she is absent, I'm assuming she doesn't have a report. And as I said before, not only do we have a couple of gentlemen here from Carl Walker, we also have a representative from CPS, one of the other bidders on the parking garage. So we're going to adjourn the meeting. We encourage you all to stay. If you have any questions regarding the reconstruction of the parking garage, feel free to join in the discussion. And I just want to remind you all too, tomorrow night at 5 in the Quattrini Mellon building, corner of Main and Ligonier, There's going to be a meeting regarding, for all businesses in town, all citizens, any interested parties are welcome to attend this meeting tomorrow. It's going to be conducted, I believe, by our city manager. That's tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the old Mellon Bank building. So, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.